Reddit. Red flags in the crawl space. Hey everyone on r/let's not meet. I've been a silent reader here for years. You know how it is. You lock your bedroom door, crawl deep under the covers, and read these horror stories just to get that weird adrenaline rush to help you drift off to sleep. You always think, wow, glad that's not me. I'm way too smart to fall into a trap like that. Well, I used to think the exact same thing, but after what happened over the last 8 months, I don't sleep anymore. Not without prescription sleeping pills, and certainly never in the dark. Let me give you some context. I'm 24. I graduated college a little over a year ago and landed my first real corporate job as a junior data analyst for a logistics firm right downtown. If you're in that 18 to 34 age bracket, you know exactly what that transition feels like. You're finally free. No roommates, no parents, no strict dorm rules. You get that first steady paycheck, and suddenly you have this desperate urge to prove to the world and to yourself that you can handle adulthood entirely on your own. But that independence is a trap. It makes you vulnerable because of your own pride. You don't want to call your parents crying just because a few minor things feel slightly off around you. You don't want to bother the police because you're terrified they'll think you're just some over-anxious, dramatic girl who watched too much true crime after moving out on her own. To save money and escape the cramped, overpriced apartments downtown, I rented an older house in the historic suburbs, about a 40-minute drive outside the city center. It was a classic American craftsman-style house. It had a massive, overgrown front yard with ancient oak trees, a long gravel driveway, and the nearest neighbor was a good 200 yards away, completely hidden behind a thick line of pine trees. The house had a lot of character, but it also possessed those typical Western architectural features that city kids aren't used to dealing with. It had a damp, concrete basement that smelled like copper and mold, where I only went once a week to do laundry. It had a dusty, unfinished attic filled with old insulation, and most importantly, it had a crawl space. For those who don't know, a crawl space is just a narrow, hollow area between the dirt ground and the wooden floorboard of a house. It's barely 3 feet high, filled with soil, pipes, and spiders. The only way into it was a heavy wooden latch built right into the floor of my pantry, hidden behind the low shelves where I kept my canned goods. The landlord casually told me it was just for plumbers to access the pipes. I placed a heavy 20-pound box of dog food right over the latch and completely forgot it existed. Being a 24-year-old girl living in a house that quiet gets lonely fast. The silence at night can be absolutely deafening. So, like everyone else my age who is trying to balance a demanding career and a non-existent social life, I turned to dating apps. I downloaded Tinder. I wasn't looking for a husband. I just wanted to go out, have a nice dinner, and feel like a normal young adult. That's when I swiped right on a guy named Julian. Julian's profile was so flawless, it was practically a work of art. In a sea of shirtless mirror selfies and guys holding dead fish, Julian stood out like a beacon of safety. He was 28, wore these elegant wire-rimmed glasses, and had a soft, intellectual smile. His bio said he loved classical literature, collected vinyl records, and worked as a senior archivist at the city's historical library, which, ironically, was located lived just 2 blocks away from my office building. Our first date was at a dimly lit, high-end cocktail bar downtown. I remember walking in feeling incredibly nervous, but the moment he stood up and politely pulled out my chair, I relaxed completely. He was exceptionally well-spoken. He didn't brag about his money or his career. Instead, he asked me deep, intense questions about my childhood, my fears, and my exact daily routine. Back then, I thought it was romantic. I thought, wow, a guy who actually listens. But looking back with what I know now, that was red flag number 1, predatory data collection. He wasn't trying to get to know me, he was mapping me out. He asked exactly what time my evening shifts ended, whether I took the highway or the back roads home, and if my house had a security system. I answered everything, laughing, thinking it was just flowing, engaging conversation. The second thing I noticed was red flag number 2, the mirror effect. It's a terrifyingly common tactic for narcissists and sociopaths. They will mirror your exact personality to build instant, unearned trust. If I mentioned a specific obscure indie band from the 2000s, he would gasp and claim he owned their vinyl record. If I casually mentioned that I was terrified of moths, he immediately spun a detailed story about how a moth had traumatized him as a child. It felt like finding a soulmate, but it was completely manufactured. It was too perfect to be real. By our 4th date, the mask began to slip. We were at a restaurant and I told him I needed to leave by 9:30 p.m. because I had a massive career-making quarterly presentation the next morning. Julian's entire demeanor changed in an instant. The soft intellectual smile vanished for a split second, replaced by a cold, hardened stare. His voice dropped an octave, losing all its warmth. Your job can wait. A smart girl like you shouldn't care so much about pleasing corporate bosses. Stay for another drink. I told him no, firmly enforcing my boundary. He immediately laughed it off, the warmth returning to his face so fast it gave me psychological whiplash. He smiled. Just testing you. I like a woman who stands her ground. That was red flag number 3, boundary testing. Predators always start with small infractions to see exactly how much discomfort you'll tolerate. When we walked out, I ordered an Uber. While we were waiting on the curb, Julian casually reached out and took my phone straight out of my hand. It was done so smoothly, under the guise of checking the driver's rating to make sure you're safe. He stared at my phone screen for a long time, his fingers tapping rapidly. When he handed it back, he kissed my cheek and whispered, "Get home safe, Olivia." The Uber ride home was deeply unsettling. The driver, an older man, kept glancing at me through the rearview mirror with a worried expression. About halfway through the trip, the driver finally said, "Your boyfriend is pretty intense, isn't he?" I confusedly asked him what he meant. The driver replied, "Well, right before you got in, he took a photo of my license plate, but then he held his phone up to the glass and took a clear picture of you sitting in the back seat. And he didn't smile at all. He just stood there, drunk mad, looking at the car until we drove off into the dark." My stomach violently dropped. Julian hadn't just checked my phone. He had used my own device to send something to himself, or he had installed some kind of tracker. When I checked my sent messages and browser history, everything was completely clean, but a cold knot of dread formed in my chest. After that Uber incident, I decided decided to cool things down. I texted Julian the next day, telling him that I was feeling overwhelmed with my new job and needed some space to focus on my career. I expected him to be annoyed, maybe send a passive-aggressive text. Instead, he just replied, "I understand. Take all the time you need. I'll be watching your progress." I thought that was the end of it. I blocked him on Tinder just to be safe, but I didn't block his phone number yet, purely out of fear of triggering a volatile reaction. A week later, the true paranoia set in. My corporate building is a massive 40-story glass tower downtown. The parking structure goes 4 levels underground. Because I was a junior analyst, I always got stuck with the worst parking spots on the lowest level, P4. It's a miserable, isolating place. It's always freezing, smells like damp concrete and old motor oil, and the fluorescent lights constantly flicker and buzz loudly. It was a Thursday evening, around 8:30 p.m. The office was practically empty, and I had stayed late to finish a grueling data audit. I took the elevator down to P4. When the doors opened, the sheer dead silence of the garage hit me. My footsteps echoed loudly against the concrete as I walked toward my Honda Civic, parked in a dark corner near the structural pillars. About halfway to my car, I heard it, another set of footsteps. Clack, clack, clack. Heavy, deliberate boots hitting the concrete somewhere behind the rows of parked SUVs. I stopped walking. The footsteps behind me stopped instantly. I told myself I was being ridiculous. It's a public parking garage. It's probably just another late-night corporate worker heading home. I started walking again, much faster this time. The footsteps started again, matching my pace perfectly. Panic completely seized me. I didn't dare look back. I gripped my car keys between my knuckles like a weapon, my heart hammering so hard I could hear the blood rushing in my ears. I reached my car, unlocked it, threw myself into the driver's seat, and slammed the lock button immediately. Before I even turned the ignition, I looked up at my rearview mirror. Standing right under a flickering fluorescent light, next to the concrete pillar I had just walked past, was a man. He was wearing a dark, heavy coat with his hands stuffed in his pockets. The pale light illuminated his face perfectly. It was Julian. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't moving toward my car. He was just standing there, perfectly still, staring directly through my back window. The truly terrifying part wasn't that he was there, it was the expression on his face. The polite, intellectual library archivist was completely gone. His eyes were wide, unblinking, and his mouth was slightly open as if he was intoxicated by the sight of my absolute terror. I started the engine, threw the car into reverse, and screeched out of that parking spot. As I sped toward the exit ramp, I looked back one last time. He hadn't moved an inch. He just turned his head slowly, watching my car disappear up the ramp. That night, I blocked his number. I thought that by cutting off all digital access, I was safe. I didn't realize that I had just backed a predator into a corner. This was red flag number 4. The escalation from digital to physical. When a stalker loses digital control over their victim, they will physically invade their space to regain it. Over the next month, a subtle, agonizing shift happened inside my house. Living alone in a large suburban yard, you get used to the sounds of nature. You learn to ignore the wind rustling the oak trees or stray cats running across the porch. But I started noticing things inside the house that made absolutely no sense. I'd come home from a long day at work, and the air in the hallway would smell different. It didn't smell like my lavender air freshener. It smelled like damp earth, wet clay, and the faint metallic trace of a men's deodorant that I didn't own. Then came the physical anomalies. One morning, I left my favorite ceramic coffee mug on the kitchen counter before work. When I came home, it was sitting inside the sink, rinsed out perfectly. Another time, I found my bedroom closet door wide open, even though I distinctly remembered shutting it because my dog, a small terrier mix named Buster, likes to chew on my shoes. Speaking of Buster, his behavior changed drastically. He used to be energetic, barking at every mail carrier, but lately he spent all his time whimpering and shaking under my bed. Whenever we walked near the kitchen pantry, his hackles would raise and he would growl softly at the floorboards, completely refusing to step inside the kitchen. I convinced myself I was losing my mind. The stress of the new job, the encounter in the parking garage, I thought I was experiencing textbook corporate burnout and psychological paranoia. To soothe my anxiety, I bought a cheap high-definition security camera disguised as a standard digital alarm clock. I set it up on the bookshelf in my living room, positioning it so it had a clear, wide-angle view of the long hallway that connected the kitchen, the pantry, and my bedroom door. It had night vision and a motion-activated alert system that synced directly to my phone. 2 nights ago, the trap snapped shut. It was exactly 3:14 a.m. I know the time because I woke up abruptly, my skin covered in a cold sweat. The house was dead quiet, the kind of silence that feels heavy, like the air itself is being pressurized. Then I heard it, a sound that made my entire body paralyzed with sheer, primal terror. It wasn't a sound from outside. It wasn't a wind. It was a low, heavy scraping sound coming from directly underneath my mattress. It sounded like something large and organic dragging itself through the dirt, pressing up against the wooden floorboards just inches beneath my back. Scrape, stretch, scrape. I lay there, completely frozen, staring at the pitch-black ceiling. I didn't dare move a muscle. I didn't even dare to breathe heavily. The scraping sound slowly migrated from under my bed, moving along the joist beneath the hallway floorboards, heading toward the kitchen. A few seconds later, from the kitchen came a soft, unmistakable sound. Clack! It was the sound of a heavy wooden latch being lifted, the latch to the crawl space inside the pantry. With shaking hands, I slowly slid my arm under my pillow and grabbed my smartphone. I opened the security camera app. My heart was beating so violently against my ribs, I was terrified the person in the house would hear it. I clicked on the live video feed of my hallway. The night vision feed was rendered in eerie shades of green and black. The hallway was empty, but then in the background, the pantry door slowly swung open. Out of the pitch-black void of the pantry floor, a hand reached out. It gripped the wooden door frame. The hand was caked in dark, wet mud. Then a shoulder emerged, then a head. The camera captured his face perfectly in the infrared light. It was Julian, but he didn't look like the man from the Tinder dates. He wasn't wearing his wire-rimmed glasses. His hair was matted with dirt and cobwebs. He was wearing a tight black thermal shirt and cargo pants, all stained with yellow clay from the crawl space. His eyes were wide, vacant, and completely devoid of humanity. He looked like an apex predator navigating its own territory. stood up silently. He didn't look around. He didn't look for valuables. He didn't care about my laptop or my TV. He turned his body and walked with absolute familiarity straight toward my bedroom door. On the screen, I watched him put his muddy hand on my bedroom doorknob. That was the moment adrenaline overrode my paralysis. I slid out of the opposite side of my bed, completely silent, and bolted into the master bathroom attached to my room. I slammed the heavy wooden bathroom door shut and turned the deadbolt just as I heard my bedroom door click open. I threw my entire body weight against the bathroom door, using myself as an extra lock. I dialed 911, my voice a desperate cracking whisper as I gave the operator my address. Please hurry. There's a man in my house. He's right outside the door. The operator was trying to calm me down, telling me the police were already dispatched, but all I could focus on was the sound on the other side of the wood. He wasn't trying to kick the door down. He wasn't banging on it. Instead, I heard the soft, sickening sound of his face pressing directly against the toggle of the door. Then he spoke. His voice was a low, raspy growl, completely stripped of his academic facade. Olivia, why did you lock the door? That's not very polite. We were having such a wonderful connection. I've been listening to you for so long. I know your favorite songs. I know how you cry when you think you're alone. He chuckled, a dry, rattling sound that will haunt me until the day I die. You shouldn't have blocked me, Olivia. It's much harder to hear your voice when I'm down in the dirt. I held the door handle with every ounce of strength left in my body, hot tears streaming down my face, praying for the sound of sirens. It felt like an eternity, but exactly 4 minutes later, the distant, beautiful wail of police sirens echoed through the suburban night. High-beam headlights cut through the frosted glass of the bathroom window. On the other side of the door, the weight left. I heard his heavy, panicked boots sprinting through my bedroom, back down the hallway toward the kitchen pantry. By the time the county sheriffs kicked in my front door and cleared the house, Julian was gone. But what they found when they shone their tactical flashlights down into the crawl space changed this from a simple break-in story into a living nightmare. The police investigator called me into the kitchen the next morning. He looked completely pale. He asked me to look down into the pantry latch, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. He just showed me the photos they took for evidence. Julian hadn't just broken into my house that night. He had been living under my floorboard for the last 2.5 months. Down in that claustrophobic dirt-filled crawl space, right underneath the floorboards of my bedroom, Julian had set up a makeshift camp. They found a heavy thermal sleeping bag, a duffel bag filled with empty water bottles, and the wrappers of food items that I had assumed I just forgot to buy at the grocery store. But the most horrifying discoveries were his tools. They found a high-powered cordless drill with a specialized silencer bit. The investigator pointed out 3 tiny, perfectly circular holes drilled upward through the thick oak floorboard of my house. The first hole was drilled directly underneath the cushions of my living room sofa. The second hole was drilled upward through the floor of my bathroom shower. The third hole, the one surrounded by the most muddy fingerprints, was drilled directly through the center of my wooden bed frame, right beneath the middle of my mattress. He hadn't just been waiting for me to come home. every single night, while I was sleeping, while I was listening to podcasts to fall asleep, while I was trying to recover from the stress of my independent life. Julian was lying in the dirt, inches below me, watching the faint light through that hole, listening to the rhythm of my breathing. He knew my life better than I did. The police ran his fingerprints and his Tinder profile data. The results were a complete dead end. Julian didn't exist. The photos on his profile belonged to a real historical archivist from a different state whose identity had been stolen 2 years ago. The man who had been under my house was a ghost, a highly intelligent, deeply organized predator who specialized in targeting young, independent women living alone in suburban rentals. It's been 4 days since that night. I broke my lease immediately. I didn't even pack most of my furniture. I just left it all there. I took my dog, my clothes, and I fled back to the safety of the city. I used the last of my savings to lease a luxury studio apartment on the 14th floor of a concrete and glass high-rise downtown. It has a 24/7 security guard in the lobby, electronic key fob access for the elevators, and security cameras covering every square inch of the property. There are no attics, there are no large yards, and there are absolutely no crawl spaces. It is a fortress of modern steel. I thought I could finally breathe. I thought the city had swallowed me back up and kept me safe. But tonight shattered whatever sanity I had left. About 2 hours ago, I was sitting on my floor, feeding Buster. My phone, which I had just changed to a completely new, unlisted number, vibrated on the kitchen island. It was a notification from Tinder. I had deleted the app, but apparently the account deletion takes a few days to fully process on the server. The notification read, "Someone special has super liked you." My hands shaking violently, I opened the app to delete the account permanently. The profile that had liked me had no profile picture. The name was just a single letter, J, and the bio read, "I prefer the view from above." A second later, a text message arrived from a spoofed, unlisted number. It was an image file. I clicked it. The photo was taken from the rooftop of the parking structure directly across the street from my new building. The camera had a high-powered zoom lens. The photo was aimed directly at the window of my 14th floor studio. In that photo, you can clearly see me sitting on the floor, feeding my dog. My bedroom window was circled in a deep, dark red digital marker. Underneath the photo, there was a single line of text. "The concrete up here makes it much harder to drill holes. But don't worry, Olivia. I've always been very good at finding the gaps in the floor." I ran to my window and threw the blinds shut. I looked down through the slats at the street 14 floors below. It's pouring rain right now. There are hundreds of people down there, walking with black umbrellas, rushing home from their corporate jobs, blending into the dark city landscape. I don't know which one he is. I don't know if he's standing in the rain right now, looking up at my light, or if he's already found a way past the doorman in the lobby, or if he's currently standing inside the service elevator coming up to the 14th floor. So, to anyone listening to this story tonight, if you're a young adult, proud of your new apartment, proud of your independence, do me a favor, turn off your podcast, turn off the TV, sit in the quiet for just 1 minute, and listen very closely to the floorboards beneath your feet, because you never truly know who is sharing the silence with you.